Welcome to the Figure Gore. We're back.
We are so bad.
And a special guest. Pondo, please introduce us to your friend.
So, it's a movie that the four of us have talked about and
love
and anticipating part 2. Here he is, Art the fucking Clown. There he is, David Howard Thornton. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, look at him buck up and show the t-shirt.
Yeah. I can't show too much because it shows some boobies.
That's okay.
Like, well, they don't have nipples on them, though. So,
oh,
you know.
yeah. Okay, but we already got axed one time because Robert quit showing boobs.
Yeah.
Well, we've already got people chiming in here. Crusher Cola.
It's the boobs.
Yeah.
Lewis says hello. Here's from Pondo other cast to show much love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Pondo's popular on the podcast. So is Rob.
He gets around. He's like the community bicycle.
It's right.
Yeah.
Everybody can ride.
He's got it.
So, Dave, we have some questions for you, but
Cool.
before that, I just want to tell you, man, for a movie that didn't have a theater release, correct?
No, we did not. We showed it at some
DVD,
festivals, but yeah, basically straight to DVD.
This movie has grabbed so many people by the balls, and people.
I don't have any balls.
And the tit.
But it's still
And people love this movie, Terrifier. I am one of them. So I have watched this movie. I can't tell you how many times in a row. Every time somebody new comes over, me and you took a picture together at Scarefest in Lexington.
Yeah.
And when they say, you know, because I have girls over here and they're like, my God, that guy's so creepy. I'll show them that picture. And I'll be like, that's not the same guy. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the same guy. So
yeah, that's just a lot of makeup.
That's how well you did. And you
Thank
are
you.
Art the Clown. We're fucking impressed that you're here.
I'm going to jump in real quick with one of the things that I was showing them earlier. Because one person that just said hello, his name's Steve McGinnis.
Yeah.
He said, hey, guys, this is how far this movie has gone because Steve actually does the official Terrifier comic book.
Yeah.
Making us all look bad, Steve. That's quite sad.
4 pages, and I love this one.
Oh, yeah. It's
It's
great.
awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah, I first came across Steve because he put some fan art up of art with the Scooby-Doo gang, and I am such like a huge cartoon freak and stuff like that. And I contacted us like, dude, I love this. Can I? Oh, exactly. I was like, can I please bring this with me to conventions? I would love to sign this. And he's like, yeah, sure. And that's how he got to talk to all of us, and that's how we got him into being our illustrator for our graphic novels. So
Steve is an amazing guy.
He's fantastic. I tell people all the time about him. We need to get him down here to the States doing the conventions as well, because I think he would do a killing at the vendor booths with his artwork.
So not sure how much time you got, but Jamie, do you want to start off with your question?
Oh, wait.
Sure.
Then I've got one question. Let me fire off with this because this has been baffling me.
This
Okay.
happens to me all the time. Go ahead.
IMDb, okay?
Uh-huh.
And your first 3 credits are voice acting.
Yes.
And then you're Art the Clown with not a single word.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It's irony. That's the thing. It's just like I was doing voiceover work before I did Terrifier. That was always my thing. It's like I do over 200 voices. That's the irony of this. Yeah, I did all this voiceover work for children's shows too, which is even funnier. It's like they would call me in and like, David, we need someone to do a bunch of animals for us. Kind of like how Frank Walker does all these animals and stuff like that for all these animated shows. I was doing the same thing. So like, we need a cow and a goat for this episode. I just come in, man, then they pay me.
Did you ever hang a stuffed teddy bear upside down and cut it in half or anything?
Not yet. Not yet.
yet.
No, just humans.
Future goals.
Yeah.
Real quick, Christopher said chin and the nose go a long way.
Oh yeah.
Pam's there. Hey everyone, David, you're my favorite creepy clown.
Oh.
Hi, Pam.
Tom said, hey guys.
There's
And
Tom.
Hey,
Steve's back. My God, would love to do a show in the States.
Yes.
Making dreams come true.
Right?
Yes.
All right, Jamie, the floor is
Okay.
yours.
I wanted to know what the audition process was like. Like, how did this opportunity come to you?
Yeah, I kind of chanced upon it. I was in the middle. I took a hiatus out of waiting tables after I got back from my last tour of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical. And I decided I just want to focus on auditioning. And I was really focusing on trying to get into another Broadway tour or a show on Broadway. And I had been up for 4 or 5 different tours in final callbacks, and every single one of them fell through for some reason or another. Like one of them literally came down to a coin toss. And I was getting so discouraged. And then all of a sudden I was like, just because I would check the dailies and stuff like that. And I saw on Actors Access, they were looking for a tall, skinny guy with clowning or physical comedy experience to play Art in this movie called Terrifier that they were making, a low budget independent horror film. And I knew the character from All Hallows Eve. I'm like, oh my God, it's the same character. This is awesome. Yeah. I think I'd be perfect for this. And so I contacted my reps and they submitted me because I'm like, this is because I'd never done film work before. And I'm like, this would be a great way for me to just get my foot in the door and just do some like on the job learning. I didn't expect it to go anywhere. I was just like, yeah, this could be good for a reel or something like that. Get some experience behind the camera and stuff like that. And so I went in there for the audition, and I thought I had messed up going straight into it because I didn't have a script, and everybody else had scripts in the room. And I'm like, oh God, no. And they call me in the room and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't have a script. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. Art doesn't talk. I'm like, cool. So what do I do then? And they're like, just come up with a scene where you're happy about decapitating a guy and go. And I was like, okay. And I just improvised a scene where I like just cartoonishly snuck up behind my victim, knocked him out, sawed off his head, picked it up, tasted the blood, didn't like the taste of the blood, so I took a salt shaker out and seasoned it, then tasted it again and like gave it a thumbs up, kind of bathed in the blood and skipped out my merry way. And once Damon and our producer had regained their composure, they are like, can you come in for a makeup test? Which never happens. That never happens, especially for lead roles in movies. There's usually a whole slew of auditions you have to go through. They don't basically tell you how the part right then and there. So I was like, okay, cool, yeah, sure, I'll come in. I'm used to makeup. I've done because I did a lot of children's theater growing up, and so I played those crazy animal characters and stuff like that. So I'd always have really crazy makeup. So I was used to sitting in the chair for over an hour or so. So I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that, no problem. And that's what got me the role. It's like if any of those like Broadway tours had worked out, I wouldn't have either been able to audition for Terrifier, and I wouldn't have been able to film it. So everything worked out the right way. It was pure serendipity.
So glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
How long does the makeup take?
Real quick.
Originally-
Nate from Australia said hi.
what up,
Sorry.
man?
Yes. Hello. Good day, all. Yeah, the makeup originally took about 3 to 4 hours to do. It's a totally different process we originally had. I even they had to glue a bald cap to me and stuff like that. We don't do that anymore. In part 2, we just decided to screw the bald cap, and they also Damon would start to pre-paint the mask instead now, because that would also take time because we had to let all the white dry and all that. And so we've gotten it down to about an hour and a half now, which is a lot better It's a whole lot better. And we recently switched to doing a foam latex mask. We even during most of Terrifier 2, we used a gelatin mask that would fall apart so easily because it's, any moisture gets on it, it starts to dissolve, and so my mouth would just get destroyed very easily. And I mean, you probably even seen some like behind the scenes photos where I have Q-tips sticking out of my nose because I'd shove those up there to stop my nose from running all the time because we're filming in a lot of really cold locations, and so it's like anything to keep the mouth from falling apart. So it's the foam latex doesn't do that, so it's so much better.
This new one is what? Art goes to the North Pole?
Yeah, no. We were filming in the winter here in New York and parts of Philly and New Jersey and upstate New York. We filmed all over. Like, God, it's like the place we filmed in Philly was in this place called Fright Factory, and it is, we were doing that in January. So it had no heat in there, and so it was very, very cold. I know I had it bad, but my co-star Lauren Lavera especially had it bad because she was wearing, for this part of the film, she's wearing this skimpy little Valkyrie bikini, basically, and it's like, oh God, and she's covered in blood and all kinds of liquids, and it's just like, when you see her in the film shaking in fear, part of that is just she's freaking cold. So it's like, it was not fun.
Oh man. Well, that does kind of answer Lewis's question. How long does it take you to transform into art?
Yeah. Now, character-wise, I can turn them on and turn them off, so I don't do the whole, Jared Leto bullshit where I have to stay in character all day and take 45-minute long pee breaks because I refuse to break character. So it's just like, no, it's just like, I think everybody on set is very grateful that I don't do that because I would probably not make it through filming because they would all want to kill me if I was art the whole entire time.
Well, can you just imagine if you stayed in character? You'd be looking around. Where's the PA? Ah, damn it.
Yep. It's like, sorry, we go through so many. We just need to put them in red shirts.
You're not making it.
No. Well, no.
Next question, Jen.
Okay. There is obviously that infamous kill of the lady hanging upside down, the actress, I should say. So I was wondering how you approach that. Like, you said you just said about not being a method actor. So I'm wondering, like, I know obviously you're not sawing her in half in real life. Yeah. She's got to be hanging upside down for part of it. Like, how do you approach that? Because that's got to be terrifying in her mind. Pardon the pun.
Oh God, it was a hard scene to do because I mean we filmed it in different chunks too over months.
Oh, okay.
So we had to do all Jenna Cannell's stuff first as Tara because she had to leave us to go film the Bye Bye Man. And so we filmed all of her stuff in one location in New Jersey, and then we got kicked out of that location and had to film the rest in other locations in like Staten Island and parts of Long Island. And so that was
kicked out for real.
Yeah. It's
why?
I don't want to go into specifics of it because the guy that owned the building was ex-con. So it's just like
he could be watching.
Yeah. So I'm like, it was in our best interest to get out of there. So it's like, yeah. But like the stuff we did with Catherine, I mean, speaking of cold, like the night we were filming her scene, it was 20 degrees that night and there was no heat in that room. And she's doing all that naked.
Upside down naked. Holy shit.
Yeah, just had that little bit of a thong on the whole entire time, and that was it. And she's covered in blood, and we'd only let her hang upside down for about 30 seconds at a time because it's so dangerous to actually have a person hang upside down. And so it was stressful as anything because we only had a few seconds to film before we had to flip her back up again. And so it was a very serious night. Everybody just had to be like, we're all trying to get it all done. We're also trying to be very careful with her and very conscientious of her because what she was doing is very, very dangerous. Also very vulnerable for a woman to be doing too. It's just like that. I mean, she's the one woman in a room full of guys and she's like that. And I'm like, God, it's just like,
that's a lot of trouble.
It's like, everybody had to be very professional that night. It's like, guys, don't.
Yeah, no jokes.
Nothing. It's like what we're doing with her is very dangerous, and it's very uncomfortable for anybody to do, especially in that kind of manner. So yeah, so that was a very stressful night. Now the night that we had the prosthetic of her that I got to cut, that was more fun because we didn't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. It's like I just got to take a hacksaw that thing and actually cut through it, and that was kind of fun.
And the prosthetics are so good. Like looks like her.
Oh, it was amazing. It even had the nice jiggle to it that it needed for like the body moving around and stuff like that. So it looks like a real person. It's just like it's insane what Damien does with his prosthetic work. It's just like, I mean, it's like, not just that one. Like the one that really floored me was the fake head that I was stabbing into for the pizzeria scene.
Yeah.
Like he had built layers under just the first layer of skin. There was like muscle and bone and everything underneath there, and blood that would come out. And it was, I was like, wow, so much detail is in this thing that most people are not even going to get see on screen. I was like, when you see me messing around with the lip when I'm with the tongue or whatever that was, I was going, that was me just sort of like, oh my God, look at this. They just caught that on film. Like, yeah, we can use that.
Was there a lot of that? Was there a lot of that going on where you just decided, hey, this would look cool, and it wasn't in the script, but you would just go off the rails and do things every once in a while?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of those fun, happy accidents. And like the whole thing with me making all the different faces, they just let the camera roll, and they're like, just make a bunch of faces. And I kept going for about 5 minutes, and because I just forgot to say cut because they were just entertained by me just making faces. And then also I think the most famous one is the me giving the bird when Victoria stabs me in the foot and runs away. That was me just joking around with Samantha. And it's just like they just caught it on tape, and they're like, "Yeah, that works." It had the crew laughing because Damien didn't really want to have anything like that in the film because he felt it was just too contrived. But it just happened so organically, and it just made sense in that moment. He's like, I got to keep that in there. That's funny.
Love it.
Got the next one, Jamie?
I just wanted to clarify, like when you say Damien, just in case people don't know, that's the writer, director, does the effects.
He does everything.
Yeah.
He does everything.
Passion project for him.
Yeah, he writes it, directs it, does all the practical effects, does all the editing.
He edits too. Oh my god.
He edits too. It's like he's a one-man army. I don't know how he keeps his sanity.
It's independent film. You have to have a lot of hats.
Yeah, and he's never fully satisfied. He's always tweaking things. He's still tweaking things on Terrifier 2, even though it's finished. He's like, I'm going to tweak this a little bit here. This, I'm like, geez, man, you just got to walk away at one point.
Are we asking about the sequel? I know Pondo's I don't want to make them wait anymore.
I was going to let you ask yours, but you want me to go ahead and ask?
Yeah, because I want to know, and I know you want to know. So, Rob, everybody wants to know.
Question on all four of our minds, and I'm sure a lot of people. We talked about this, and we talked about this in Louisville. I showed you guys 3 tweets of people saying, "Hey, Terrifier is coming out this week. Terrifier is," and Damien looked at me and he goes, "They're full of shit. I haven't even edited the damn thing."
Yeah.
So when is Terrifier 2 scheduled to come out?
By Halloween.
Halloween.
By Halloween, guaranteed. It's just like we're so ready to release this beast, and it is a beast of a film. It's over 2 hours long. It's a huge film.
Wow.
For a slasher, that's absurdly long.
That's an epic for a slasher.
Yeah, it's almost twice as long as most slashers. So it's just like
the first one was like an hour and 20 some minutes. I guess.
Yeah. It's just there's so much. It's just, and it's because the kill scenes are so big. And this thing is that they. I think we have like a 5-6 minute long kill scene.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
I was telling you this before we started the podcast, but you, as Art the Clown, did such a good job that you have touched. I say touch people's hearts, but I don't know if that is the correct sentence for it. But,
I've touched a few hearts, maybe eaten a few too. So,
so I had 3 pictures, but so you already answered one because you said yes when you was part of a Scooby-Doo scene. You said that made you feel great inside.
Yeah.
So picture number 2. You're a
Yes.
pop figure. I mean, pop figures are so popular right now,
Yeah.
and somebody made you a pop figure. I mean, is that not something that
Oh,
just
it's amazing.
you in life?
I love it. I'm ready for Funko to actually officially make a figure. It's so cool seeing what the fans have come up with too. I think
This
that's
isn't a Funko?
no, that's not an actual Funko
Oh,
figure.
okay. Fan made
That's
that.
a fan made figure, and it looks
Wow.
probably better than anything Funko could make.
I agree 100%.
It's like that's amazing. It's
Oh, I
just,
wanted
Too much
one.
detail in the face for Funko.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this third picture, this has to be so impressive that you did such a good job in this movie. Somebody has you, I think that's a thigh or an arm. They have you on their body for the rest of their life. But
Yeah.
man, what a great tattoo artist, great picture. That has to do something to you. Like, oh my God, I've done such a great job that people.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like that. When the tattoos first started, Damien and I were trying to keep count of them because we were just so like, this is so cool. Oh my gosh! And there are some like that one. There's some amazing ones out there too. Like the detail that they put into these things. I mean, some of them are like 3D looking. It's just like, this is photorealistic tattoos of my ugly mug that they want on their body for the rest of their life. It's just, and we lost count a few years ago because there are just so many of them. I mean, it's like almost a daily occurrence now where someone's like, hey, I got a tattoo of art. I'm like, oh my God, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's just that. And, we recently had the Trick or Treat Studio action figure released.
Oh.
And also
Really?
Twisted has released a small figure, and we got some more figures coming out. So like, I'm a big geek myself. I grew up especially with action figures, and that was actually one of my dreams for the longest time, was to actually have an action figure of a character I've played. I figured that's when you've made it, when you have your own action figure.
Oh yeah.
And so to actually get one, and the one that Trick or Treat Studios has made is so good. It's like the amount of detail that's in that figure. It astounds me that they made it without having me come in to do any scans, because it looks just like me. It's like that whoever sculpted that bad boy was. Mwah.
Well, Nathan has some advice for us for Funko. It says, don't say that. They're listening and won't make it if you say they can't make things that good.
Oh, well, I think they can. I think that's a challenge.
Nathan also commented on the release date. You said Terrifier 2 is coming out this Halloween. So he said, when do we get it in Australia? 2035?
Probably.
I have no control over the international markets. I have no idea how all that works. So, but it's coming. I mean, like right now, we're literally in negotiations. We shopped around at Cannes recently.
Nice.
And so we've had some hits from people that we're in negotiations with right now. So we're about to hopefully be making some announcements soon about all that fun stuff.
Awesome. Internet Eric says, I've seen quite a few interviews with David. The man is always so entertaining. Glad to see him here tonight.
Oh, thanks, man.
And then Luke got a great question. Did you get to keep any of the prosthetics or death props? And if so, what's your favorite?
I did not keep any of the prosthetics or anything like that, especially the masks. I mean, we've for part one, those things were just so destroyed by the end of the night. We basically just ripped them off my face, so we didn't even think about saving them. For part two, we kept my faces for Indiegogo campaign people. So we've mailed, I think they're mailing. I don't know if they've mailed them yet. I hope they've mailed them yet, because, oh my God, those things have been sitting there for a while now.
Since you brought up the Indigo, before I pass it over to Robert, I just want everybody to know that they set up an Indigo for part two, and they was only going for $50,000. And the total David came up to
over $200,000.
Over $200,000. This movie
Yeah,
better come with a blowjob.
Yeah, I'd settle for that too.
Obviously, that's why you have like a 10-minute kill scene now, is because you can afford to do a 10-minute kill scene.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a 10-minute blowjob.
That's 9.5 minutes more than I need.
Oh no.
One last question, then I'll give it over to Robert. So, the first one was pretty bloody. How about part 2? Is it like?
Oh my god. Oh my
Buckets.
god.
Buckets and buckets.
We took that as a personal challenge. It's like this one kill scene. I said it's like maybe 5-6 minutes long. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. I'm like, it's one of those things where the pandemic kind of benefited us in a way, because we had just filmed the very beginning of that scene, and the pandemic stopped us, and so we had all that time to actually make prosthetics. And Damien's like, well, I got all this time, might as well flesh this out even more. So he went back to the drawing board and just re-upped the scene, and actually another scene in the film too, the very first kill scene. Both those scenes he just embellished more, and we came back, filmed them. And so like this big kill scene was originally supposed to just take us 2 days to film. It ended up taking us about a week.
Oh,
Because there's so many practical elements in this scene, and we wanted to take our time with it and do it right. And we've shown it to some people in the horror community just because Damien wanted to get people's reactions to see, okay, does this work? And like one of the people we showed to is Heather Riker. She does a lot of the Q&A sessions at a lot of conventions and stuff like that. She's a big horror person, and she started crying tears of joy while watching it. She just she got so emotional. She was just like, oh my god. She's like, this is insane. It's an absolutely.
I cannot wait for this.
Yeah, it just doesn't end, and you're just gonna be like, dude, you gotta stop, man. This is overkill. Literally overkill. It's like it just keeps going. And there's something that Damien built in this scene. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but he made this one prosthetic that I had seen it before he dressed it up, and already it looked amazing. But I walk in the room when it's all covered with all the stuff, and he's got it hooked up every way it's supposed to move and stuff like that. And I just freaked out. I was like, oh my god. It's just like that. The moment this thing's utilized in the film, I think people are going to flip their minds too, because they're going to think it's CG or something like that. I'm like, no, that's prosthetic. It's just like,
well, I know the pandemic did slow you down, because I've got this cool picture of David waiting for the pandemic to end.
Yes. That's me still waiting for the movie to come out, damn it.
Sorry, I saw this one. I had to put that up.
Oh, I love that. I love that photo too, because
I like the little hat.
I will say, at this point in the film, when you see this part, this is where everything really starts to kick into overdrive.
Yeah.
And it does not stop from there on out. And there's still a good chunk of the film left. That's all I'm going to say.
So cool. So cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Let me see here.
How many of those costumes did you go through?
We had 2 or 3 costumes that I wore, and I maybe a few more because we had some for Indiegogo backers, so we had to actually wear them 1 or 2 days on set. But I had 2 main costumes I wore, and we'll just interchange them out. So we could keep one clean if we needed to, because the blood and stuff like that. Yeah. And sometimes we'd keep the same one on for multiple days, just so the blood continuity for the blood splatters was the same. So it's like that's the biggest pain in the butt, is the blood splatter continuity, is because we don't film everything in order. So we sometimes have to guess. We're like, okay, we guess we're going to have all this blood on me at this area at this point of the film. And then we have to take all these continuity photos after every shoot, because we've got to match it up, make sure we got the splatters in the right places. It's
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Crusher Kroloff says, I saw him in Dallas last month. Are there any meet and greets coming up?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of conventions. I'm going to be in Sacramento next week, actually, doing a Sinister Creature Con, and I'm doing so many. I gotta look at my schedule again. I got so many coming up later on this fall. But I'm even going to England, going to Manchester, England for the Love of Horror, and that's going to be insane, because I hear that my photo ops, I've already sold over 240 some odd photo ops,
Oh,
which is like, huh? And I was like, this is, I did not realize our fan base was that large in the UK. And I'm like, this is amazing.
Is that in makeup or without makeup?
In makeup. Yeah. So that's going to be a long day.
Don't get it wet. Don't get it wet.
Yeah. I'm going to be wearing the foam latex. So I should be fine. But that's going to be fun. I'm like, I hope to do more overseas too. I'm like, it's been fun going up to Canada, but I mean, I know we have fans all over the world now.
That's crazy.
I would love to get down to Australia. Yeah, definitely. I would love to get down to Australia. That would be fun.
I don't know who this is because they didn't log in properly, but it says right when I jump in and you're talking about BJ's. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
It's great this show.
Yeah.
Eric said the 10-minute blowjob comes after the 10-minute kill scene. Or maybe during, if you watch the director's cut. And of course, Nathan says, I'm married. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you don't want to see the glory hole scene then.
Oh, here's a good one. With so many kill scenes.
Guillotine.
Oh, no. I can feel that. I'm just talking about it. With so many kill scenes, is there any, if you listen closely, you can hear? Never mind.
Damn it, Lewis.
That's an inside joke.
The fucking David joke.
Gotcha.
Do you have a couple questions, Robert?
Oh no, the two that I had, I got right at the beginning. I was going to introduce Steve McGinnis with his art and ask about, voice acting, and then suddenly no voice. I thought that was hilarious.
I love it. And I'm always doing my voices on set too. So it's like literally right before we start rolling, I'm like doing like Stewie Griffin or Herbert the Pervert or Bugs Bunny or something like that, and they're like rolling, and I'm like, hey guys. I think they just say rolling sometimes just to get me to shut up. They're not really rolling.
David, we so appreciate that you coming on the Figure Gore with us and hanging out, man. Like,
you're welcome.
we know your time's valuable, but you chose to spend 31 minutes with us, and we appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you.
And
I appreciate
maybe you and Robert can get something worked out, and we will see you down the road.
Hopefully so. One Robert has to talk to other Robert.
Right.
This Robert can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for myself and Pondo and everybody. I want
to tell y'all one more thing.
Sure.
We haven't officially announced it yet, but I just finished.
Oh, you hear it here on the Figure Gore podcast.
Yeah, I just finished filming another horror film, a Christmas-related horror film.
Those are the best.
I can't say what franchise it's based off of, but it's a very popular Christmas franchise that I actually have a connection with in my past acting job. So I guess that's enough of it. I can't say, but
the Grinch earlier.
Yeah, we'll see. You expect an announcement soon about that as well. So it looks like I'm going to have a very busy holiday season coming up this year. So
awesome.
Yeah. Lewis said, "Does it have a shark in it?"
It might.
Christmas shark. Figure Gore inside joke.
We have a lot of shark movies on this.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Duke here said, "David, did Art get paid for his babysitting services?"
No.
Very short-lived babysitting service.
Yeah, everything was half off.
Yeah.
It cost them an arm and a leg.
Oh, they're not getting better.
Yeah, they were in over their heads.
And on that note, David, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure to stick around or to tune in again at Figure Gore when we're back. But until then, we'll see you later. Pondo, your last comment?
Whatever you do, check on your friends and families. This is a rough time, and mental health is very short in this time and age right now. So if you have a friend, if you have a family that you haven't talked to in a while, please reach out and say, hey, what's going on? Anything, any words is way better than no words. So reach out to people.